guys, how's it going? I'm working on a few projects out in the garden today. I've got some planting to do as well as a couple of pots to work on. But before I get into any of that and show you guys what I'm working on out here, I wanted to talk about the video we uploaded this morning. So we uploaded our announcement video. Aaron and I are expecting a baby boy January of 2018 and we are so excited. And I just wanted to thank you guys for all of the comments you left. We were absolutely blown away. In fact, I'm getting a super late start on today because I just spent a few hours this morning scrolling through comments and reading them and just feeling so uplifted and thankful for you guys, because you guys are wonderful and not many channels have this type of like supportive, wonderful community of people that follow them. There's usually a lot more negativity and we don't deal with that. You guys are just like the most lovely people and I just feel so thankful. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys so much. We are just blown away by your support and just how awesome you are. We are planning on putting together another video with just more details surrounding the baby and what we're planning to do, like what our future plans are for videos and all that kind of thing, and as far as like how far along I am and how it's been up to this point. Anyway, let me show you guys what I've got going on out here today. So I'm heading out to our gazebo area. So right in here, kind of darkish, I hope you can see it. See this spot right in here? I've done a little bit of planting, but look, I've got some limelight hydrangeas right here that I really just want to get in the ground. They are looking absolutely gorgeous. Look at that bloom. So I'm wanting to put them right in this spot. There's an old juniper tree right here. It's actually very, very tall. And the top looks really great. I just this spring cleared out this whole area. There were big branches coming off the tree. And I've got a few annuals in here. In fact, we did a video. Let me come up here. We did a video where I planted these hostas, and there's some coleus in there and lamium and some impatiens, which some have died out. They got rotten. And that happens. The other thing in this area are some Let's Dance Diva hydrangeas. They came out of the wicker pots that I had up by our front doors last year. You might remember them. They were absolutely gorgeous. I wintered them over in our cold frame and they did not fare very well because our winter was so hard. In fact, you can see, look at that. It's so sad looking. So I think what I'm gonna do is pop those out of the ground and get these beautiful ones in. And I'm thankful this project is in the shade. So I brought 5 of the hydrangeas over here, but I think I'm gonna only use 4 of them. Let me show you. So I'll put one there, so a little off from where I planted the other hydrangea. There's one right back in there, one right here, so they're just kind of like in a trio around this trunk. And then there's one tucked in here. Let me give you a different angle here. I think that is so pretty. It's like a little zigzag of hydrangeas. I just don't think I have enough room for a 5th in here because these ones do get quite large, like 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. And I don't expect them to get that big in this spot because this spot right here is fairly shady. You can see it's kind of dappled up in here. But when they don't get quite as much sun, they don't get quite as big. Limelights are my very favorite hydrangea though, so I'm really excited to get more of them in my garden. So now I'm just gonna plant them. So this area turned out just perfect. Check it out. Look at how pretty those limelights look. They bring a really bright pop of color, which I'm loving. I ended up putting the 5th one right across the sidewalk here, right in this spot. There was nothing there, so I just plopped it in the ground there. There's a couple of Zinfandels right in here. They're pretty similar. I did end up leaving 2 of the Let's Dance Diva hydrangeas. This is one that I had extra last year, so it wasn't in a pot. I actually planted this one straight out in the ground. So it's doing a whole lot better. Look at the blooms. Isn't that sweet? And then there's one more right in here. It doesn't look super hot, but there's some green growth on it and I'll give it a chance. And here's this angle with them all planted. I love it. They're like perfectly spaced to where you can see each one really nicely. And in case you were wondering what I was putting in the holes when I was planting, I have a bucket here of gypsum, just looking kind of low. So gypsum I use in our soil because it's really heavy clay and this helps break that up. So I always toss a little bit of that at the bottom of the hole. And then I also follow that with some Hollytone. We have really alkaline soil here, so I use a more acid-based fertilizer for hydrangeas because it helps bring that pH down a little bit, makes the plants happier. A lot of places already have acidic soil. Like when we go to Michigan, they don't have to use this type of fertilizer, but it works really well for me here. So I'm just excited about how this looks, and now I'm gonna go grab some other hydrangeas I'm gonna put in another spot. Oh, I'm looking nice and sweaty. So I'm up in our front yard in the next area where I'm planning on planting hydrangeas, and it's quite a bit smaller than I was envisioning. So I don't know how many I'm gonna actually be able to fit in here, but let me show you. So you might remember I planted these 4 boxwoods in a video like earlier this summer. And I thought about planting this spot right here because you can see it's really filtered sunlight right here. I was thinking of putting these quick fire hydrangeas right in that spot because I think it will be gorgeous. Let me step on the other side here. I think it would be pretty to have the boxwood hedge, you know, eventually it'll be a hedge, and then right behind it having this bank of hydrangeas right behind it and kind of above it, because the quick fires get quite large as well, so they get about 6 to 8 feet tall. And the cool thing about these hydrangeas that I'm planting today is they're all paniculatas, which means they bloom on new wood. So blooming on new wood means that if we have a hard winter, or if I want to kind of size control these and prune them back late winter, early spring, I can do that and they'll still bloom every single year. So these ones will want to get about 6 to 8 feet tall as well. So I think I'm going to only be able to fit 3. I've got 4 here. So I'll put 3 in and we'll see how it looks. Quick fire hydrangeas are really gorgeous. So they start off this really pretty, like they kind of start off white and then they turn this chartreusey green and then they turn kind of a deep rosy pink in the fall. If I can find a picture, I'll flash it up on the screen because they are absolutely gorgeous. All right, they're all planted, and this is going to turn into kind of a hedge because they are planted kind of close together. I did discover that one of these is starting to turn fall color. Look, there's some pink. That is so pretty. What I didn't anticipate was running into some of these great big old privet roots, because if you guys remember, this whole section right here was all old privet, so we had removed. So the boxes went in earlier this summer, now the hydrangeas, so it's just starting to take shape. I also grabbed, while I was in the back, this black lace elderberry. I've been waiting for the perfect spot to put this, and I think I found it. Let me show you, it's just right over here. But you can see I have like this hole where the privets were. They went all the way into this rose bush and into that juniper, but it's super bright and sunny, and I just need something red because it's all pretty green right around in here. So this black lace elderberry will be perfect. I think right in there like that. All right, I got the elderberry in the ground, and what you guys aren't seeing is that in between each different variety of plants that I'm putting in the ground today, I am sitting down in the shade and taking a break. That's one different thing about expecting a baby that I wasn't expecting, was just having to take it slower, trying not to get like way overheated. It's about 100 degrees outside today, so I'm taking it slow, not getting as much done as I used to. But that's okay. It's actually kind of pleasant. So here it is. It's gonna look really great in this spot. I know you can't see it super well right now, but it gets 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, so it'll fill in this corner really nicely. And if you guys aren't familiar with these elderberries, so this foliage will darken. It'll be like a black. I overwintered this in my cold frame, and it's looking just a tiny bit stressed, but it'll bounce and it'll start looking really, really pretty. So you can see right here in the early spring, there's soft pink flowers in these really pretty kind of disc shapes. And then they're followed by berries that are actually edible. They're good for jams and jellies, things like that. But usually I just leave them for the birds. You can see right to the right, there's kind of this rose bush and then a privet that's still there. It's like all tangled in with the privet there. So I think I'm gonna remove all of that. So I'll just be left with this nice golden juniper and then this really beautiful black lace elderberry. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to get into the ground, and then I need to go down to the garden center to pick up a couple of things. All right, so here's the last thing. This is a Kinpo Japanese white pine. It's a Pinus parviflora. Absolutely gorgeous. Let me get in closer. Look at the color of those needles. Kind of a bicolor, green and blue, that icy blue. I love it. And it's got really cute little cones in there. The wonderful thing about this pine is that, let me see if I can get it to focus so you can see the stats. It only grows 3 by 2. So it's just a really nice small specimen pine that will be able to tuck in anywhere. It doesn't grow super fast, and it's a zone 5. So I've got it in this spot where I put this Japanese maple earlier this summer. That's usually pretty red. It got a little bit scorched. I had a gopher come through and just tear through its root system, so I've been babying it along. Right next to it I've got more hydrangeas. This whole spot right here gets sun in the morning, like a really good block of sun from about 9 to 2. So it'll be plenty of sun to keep the pine happy, but a little enough amount of sun to keep hydrangeas happy. So it's a really fun area. So I'm gonna get this one in the ground right here. Well, I got all of the planting done that I really wanted to get done today, so I'm really happy about that. So here is the pine, looking really beautiful. I left enough space because these will want to get about 6 feet wide. So I left, I think, about 4 feet from center here. So it should just barely kind of reach the pine. So I think it'll be perfect. And you can see I'm kind of working on some more ideas here. Some other plants just hanging out, kind of waiting for their turn. All right, so now it's time for another break. We're gonna head down to the garden center. So I'm going down to Andrew's so I can pick up, I've got 2 Crescent True Drop self-watering containers that just came in. They were on back order. They're actually a part of the fence line container project that we were working on. So they'll be planted a little late, and that's okay. I'm excited to get those. We're getting some landscape fabric because we're actually getting the arborvitae planted, finally, on Saturday. So we're getting all the landscape fabric laid down this week so that it's ready to go. And then what else? Oh, I'm getting a couple of purple fountain grass because that's a couple of the things that's going to be going into the pots that I'm going to be working on. So I'll show you that when we get back to the house. Thing of beauty. Look at all this landscape fabric. To wit, 5 foot. This is it. Can you manhandle that, Aaron? Yep. It's a beast, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so landscape fabric, check.
Check.
So the grasses I need, I think, are right up here. She was gonna tag them for me. So here are the grasses I'm after. We can just put them on the sidewalk and swing by here, Aaron. That's like instant impact right there. Hey.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm looking to see if this is a red hot poker.
Oh, were you hiding from us when we just came out of the door?
I ducked behind the table.
Okay, we just got back home and I want to show you what pots we're putting these grasses in. So here's the deal. All the plants look really great below. So the potato vine and the petunias and the verbena, look at how beautiful that is. Look at the spiral. So I put these in early spring and there's a definite line where this is getting sun scorched. So this side looks a lot better, got a lot more green. This side is burning. So all the other arborvitaes, like we've got more over here that are getting ready to be planted, and they've been out in the full sun as well, but they are not up against a building. And I think what we have going on here is a little bit of like just way too much heat. I think the sun beats on them first of all, and then it beats off the building and it reflects onto the plant, and I just don't think they can handle it. And I can't be giving them any extra water because I don't want anything else to suffer. Those are all looking really great. So 2 of them look pretty sad. This one here and this one here. These 2 do not look bad. In fact, let me get it closer on this one. So see, that one looks pretty darn good. Starting to scorch just a little bit. But you guys, if I get in close and just crunch off this scorched part, it's all green still on the inside. So the plan is to take all the spirals out. We're just gonna kind of carefully dig them out, and I'm gonna plant them out in the landscape somewhere where they can rebound. I can still enjoy the spirals, but I wanna get something else in there that'll thrive and do better. I just don't wanna leave these in here to the point where they're completely like too far gone, where I can't, you know, recoup them. So anyway, that is the last order of business. That's why we picked up these 2 grasses. I already have 2 of these here at home. So we'll just slide those in the place of the evergreens. And I think Aaron's gonna help me with this part. I think what I'm gonna do is get some big empty pots and put the evergreens in empty pots for right now and put them somewhere in a shady spot where I can just water them for a little bit so I can think about where I want to put them, because I don't know yet where I want to put them out in the garden, but I'll find a spot. So I'm actually robbing these grasses out of a couple of my other pots. That's okay, I didn't plant them in those pots, I just like stuck them down in their original cans. So now I'm gonna have to figure out something else to put in here. Yeah. I gotta say, it's gonna be nice to not have to haul water out to that. Is it plugged? Ew. Oh my goodness, there was tons of water in there. Oh, good job. Oh, I don't think that's gonna fit. Perfect. Didn't disturb any of the plants. Now we gotta figure out what to do with that.
That's the stinky one.
Oh, that reeks. Oh, that looks so much better.
It does look nice.
Okay, I'm gonna grab some soil. Oh, I'm happy with that. Really happy with that.
Okay, we got them all pulled out and put them in tubs. Now we're just putting the last 2 grasses in.
Just giving the root balls a little bit of moisture. All they have to do is stay in these containers until tomorrow, because by then I'll have figured out a place to plant them out. So just a little bit of moisture in there, this should be okay. So now I'm gonna water these in. This one, just a tiny bit, because this is the one that was kind of stinky. I think that these look so much better than the spirals. I mean, the spirals are gorgeous when they're all green, but I just don't like to see a struggling plant. So if I can put it somewhere else where it'll thrive and do better, that's what I'll do. We got that done a lot faster than I thought I was gonna be able to. If I had to do that by myself, I would have been out here a lot longer. I think it looks really pretty. Really love it. So the arborvitaes are hanging out in the garage until tomorrow. And then here are the couple other things we picked up down at the garden center. So I got 2 more of these self-watering containers, which I will be planting up with the Above and Beyond combo like I did the others. So a lot of pink. They'll be a little bit behind the others, but that's okay. And then here is the landscape fabric. This is the best. I will never use anything but the DeWitt Pro. This stuff is awesome. So we should have a video up here pretty quick of us planting these arborvitaes. Finally, they've only been sitting here since about March. It'll be really nice to not have to water them every day, because that section alone probably takes about 20 minutes because there's 65 of them. You have to water them really, really well once, and then you have to go back through and water them again so that they're really saturated. Anyway, I'm excited to have that project done. So I think that that is it for this video today. I actually had other things I wanted to get in the ground, a couple boxes with some perennials, but the day, you know, kind of started off a little bit slower for us than I had anticipated, for a very good reason. So again, thank you guys so much for all of your support and all of your sweet comments. I just can't get over it. They just keep flooding in today. And it's just like, talk about a mood lifter. It's just amazing. So hope you enjoyed seeing these projects, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.